Have you ever worked unbelievably hard and still felt broke? Broke in money, broke in recognition, broke in purpose. What if the problem wasn't your effort, but where you were aiming it? Living in the shadow of New York's Gilded Age, a man once painted money so perfectly it fooled the world. But the greatest thing he ever forged was his own wasted life. Just a train ride away from the glittering wealth of Manhattan lived a man with a gift so rare it bordered on supernatural. His name was Emmanuel Ninger. To the world, he was a quiet, decorative painter, a craftsman, the kind of man hired to restore faded murals in wealthy brownstones or paint delicate lettering on high-end storefront windows. But those who watched him work knew the truth. His brush didn't just copy, it resurrected. He could reproduce marble veins that fooled architects, gold leaf that fooled collectors, portraits so lifelike they seemed to inhale when you stepped closer. He had the hands of a master, and yet, in a city exploding with opportunity, he remained painfully average. He lived comfortably, yes, but not brilliantly, not as his talent deserved. And somewhere, deep inside, resentment began to grow. One winter evening in the late 1890s, he sat alone at his polished mahogany desk. Outside, carriages rolled past gas-lit streets. On his desk lay a $10 bill. He stared at it longer than necessary. The symmetry, the engraving, the texture. A thought crept in. What if I painted one? It wasn't a thought born of hunger. It was born of ego. He believed he could outmatch the U.S. Treasury itself. So he began. He measured the dimensions precisely, soaked paper in diluted coffee to mimic aged currency, studied every line, every curve, every microscopic flourish. For days he painted, not rushed, not sloppy, obsessive. When he finished, he held it up to the light. It was flawless. The first time he spent it, no one batted an eye. He received his change, real money. In that moment, something dangerous ignited. Not desperation, validation. Years passed. His life grew more comfortable. Silk curtains, imported rugs, crystal decanters filled with French wine. His neighbors whispered about his sudden wealth. He told them vague stories of European investments and military pensions. They nodded, impressed. Inside his private studio, however, the truth was stacked neatly in drawers. Paints, brushes, half-finished notes. He wasn't printing money. He was forging it. By hand. Stroke by microscopic stroke. Each bill took nearly a week. Think about that. A full week of master-level artistic focus for $20. The irony is almost unbearable. Because outside those studio walls, collectors would have paid thousands for a single authentic painting from his hand. But he never tested that path. Why? Because forging currency guaranteed approval. Creating original art risked rejection. And so he chose certainty over courage. One afternoon, he entered a small produce shop owned by a woman who knew him well. He paid with one of his immaculate $20 notes. She smiled, gave him change. Hours later, while counting her register, she paused. The ink had smudged. Real currency ink does not smudge. Her stomach tightened. She contacted authorities. The raid was swift. In his studio, they found the evidence. Paints matched to treasury hues, paper cut to exact dimensions, half-finished masterpieces of deception. He was arrested, sentenced to prison, 6 years. And just like that, the illusion collapsed. Behind cold stone walls, stripped of luxury and reputation, something unexpected happened. He asked for canvas, not paper cut to currency size, not diluted coffee. Canvas. The guards agreed, and for the first time in years, he painted without hiding. Landscapes flooded with golden light, portraits pulsing with human vulnerability, scenes of European villages remembered from childhood. Other inmates stopped to watch. Guards lingered longer than necessary. Word spread beyond prison walls. Collectors became curious. His paintings began to sell. Legend has it that when his sentence ended, he was handed an envelope. Inside was a fortune. Some claim tens of thousands of dollars, earned legally from art. Each painting had sold for thousands. He stared at the number in silence. Then he wept. "I spent a week painting a $20 bill," he whispered, "when I could have painted a $5,000 masterpiece." In that moment, he understood something brutal. He hadn't stolen from the government, he had stolen from himself. This story of Emmanuel Ninger, known as Jim the Pinman, is rooted in real history. But his true crime wasn't counterfeiting. It was misdirected genius. He worked incredibly hard. He was disciplined. He was precise. But he aimed all that power at something small, safe, predictable. He chose the illusion of quick reward over the risk of authentic greatness. And that is a tragedy far more common than prison sentences. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Where are you painting fake money? Are you spending years in a job that looks impressive, but starves your real talent? Are you chasing short-term validation, likes, titles, quick income, instead of building something that could truly define you? We tell ourselves we're being practical. We say we'll pursue the bigger dream later, when we're safer, when we're ready. But safety has a cost. And sometimes that cost is your entire potential. There are only two paths. You can invest your time in work that compounds, skills that build reputation, freedom, meaning. Or you can spend your brilliance manufacturing small returns that feel secure but never scale. One path demands courage. The other demands excuses. Emmanuel Ninger learned too late that his time was worth far more than he believed. The tragedy wasn't prison. The tragedy was the years before it. Years spent perfecting deception instead of pursuing mastery in the open. So I'll leave you with this. What would happen if you aimed your effort at something worthy of it? What masterpiece are you avoiding because it might fail? Take it out of the drawer. Put it on canvas. Risk the smudge. Because a failed attempt at greatness is infinitely more valuable than a perfectly executed counterfeit life. And remember, the man who wastes his talent doesn't cheat the world. He cheats himself.